All right, folks, here we go. Game 66. It's a short one, but a goodie. It's interesting because we have an Evans Gambit, but we see what Morphy plays against it. Now, we didn't even get into the bulk of this opening, the Evans Gambit, but it was a common weapon of Morphy. In the offhand games, we'll see it a lot. When he played weaker opponents, clearly weaker opponents, he whipped out the Evans Gambit, and it's fireworks, folks. Beautiful stuff. But now we're going to see Morphy defending against it. Okay, so here we go. That's the interesting point I want to make here. So we got the king pawns, and then the Evans Gambit starts off like the Italian game, right? The bishops come out. But here, white on move 4 sacrifices the b pawn. Okay, most common move is to take with the bishop. Now, why? You're sacking that wing pawn to divert that bishop, and then here you go. You hit it with c3. And you'd say, well, you're not developing a piece. You're just pushing another pawn. Okay, but the idea is your Morphy pulls it back to a5. And this is common also. Bishop c5, bishop a5. Two different lines that are deep. They're both playable. When the bishop comes to c5, you see Shredder here. It falls right in line with white's plan. c3 doesn't develop a piece, but it does allow the queen to swing out, maybe here, and now you got a light square battery aiming down at black's f7 weakness, right? It could come here in other lines where it gives a check when this pawn is played, and there's other lines. But basically, c3 allows the queen some options, okay? But really, what c3 is about is to support this pawn push, okay? And after they trade, see, now it's hitting the bishop. So now it's pretty much compelling black to trade, and then white takes back with the c pawn, and now he's got, he sacrificed the pawn, but look at what he has, folks. He has a beautiful pawn center, okay, a beautiful pawn center, and white has, good piece action. The other bishop's getting ready. Common places to go here, and especially when you got when that d pawn is gone. This pawn, black's d pawn, let's say he castles, right? And he plays this up, and sometimes you push this pawn, and this guy the pawn on here takes, and then you end up, you get this when you get scenarios, okay? However they crop up, I might have that a little off, but this bishop can come to a3, the strongest move in certain lines. Is when the bishop comes here, and it prevents the black king from castling kingside. See, right now that d6 pawn is good. It blocks. But that's another theme that you see. Morphy uncovered that one down the road. He didn't use it in the early Evans Gambit games, but as the dates progressed, he discovered this move of bishop a3, preventing the black king from castling. All right, it's a strong move. But anyway, it has to fit. I mean, right here, black has the d6 pawn still to block that diagonal, the a3, f8 diagonal. But anyway, all right, so these are some of the ideas, right? And, white gets a nice center. He's controlling these key squares, right? He's controlling c5, e5. He's controlling d5 and f5. Bishop's aiming at the king side. This guy's, like I said, could come here. He could come this way, too. He has options. The knight ready to leap in. The pawns are ready to push the knight out of the way, right? So the white's going to castle king side quickly. Queen's going to leap in. Maybe it's going to come over here. Maybe it's going to, with the knight moving up, maybe she'll come in on this diagonal. Lots of options. Beautiful stuff. It's a very aggressive opening for white, all for the wing pawn, that b pawn. Now, if black could get castled to safety and get through the attack, he's up a pawn. Okay, so that's the yin and yang of it. That's the The question, can he do it? Now, in this game, after c3, all right, we'll go back through the moves real quickly so you can see it. Here you go. e4, e5, the knights come out, bishops come out, looking like a Guccio piano, or however you say it, the Italian game, and all of a sudden, then b4, boom, right? Okay, he takes the pawn, c3, tempo on the bishop. Morphy brings it, decides not c5 he liked in this game, bishop to a5, right? Okay, bishop to a5. Now, Mongolian castles, okay? And now you have Morphy bringing the knight to f6. What's it doing, folks? It's attacking the e4 pawn, right? White's e4 pawn is under the gun now. Black's knight, f6 attacks it. But look, white counterattacks here with the d4 pawn push. But again, the bishop's over here. He's not being hit. So black's not compelled to take. As a matter of fact, you're looking at it, you see Shredder likes this. He likes taking that e4 pawn. And notice the key feature in this position is white can't bring the natural defender, the queen knight, to c3 to defend e4. That would be the natural move, right? But he can't even do that with the pawn on c3. But after this, black's not compelled to take because his bishop's not here being hit, right? It's over here. So he doesn't have to trade. Morphy castling. He doesn't take with the knight. That's what Shredder seems to like. Morphy castles. He goes ahead and castles. Now get this. Here's a move Mongolian plays with a question mark. Look. d5. Why does that get a question mark, folks, from the old masters? Well, it blocks this guy. It blocks the light square bishop scope. The whole thing of him sitting on c4 is pinning this pawn, attacking this pawn, you know, putting pressure on the black king side. But now when you play d5, you're blocking out your own bishop scope, okay? And not to mention, you're relieving like all the pressure in the center. The pressure being over here, whether he takes this way or he allows black to trade. I don't know. Let's just say that's a bad move. Let's just say, okay, look, he brings the bishop here, right, aiming down, or he wants to pin the knight, right? You know, there's a possibility black will trade, right? And you know, well, this would be bad because now that knight is toast, right? This isn't good. I mean, then you can hit the bishop, you could take. All right, but anyway, you know, you bust the king side up at least. That could be playable for white. But you know, look at this. He's moving here, and you see the threat, folks. The bishop again to show you the power of the bishop on this diagonal with queen to d3. You see what he's setting up, folks. Look, he could come right in with a check. The pawn on f7 is pinned by the bishop on c4. See. And he gets something like this going, and now, I mean, heck, oh boy, it's just going to lead to mate and 6, it says. Look, you redirect the bishop. This pawn is still blocking the influence of this guy, so there's no way to take control of f5. Look at this, we're in trouble. Look, he goes here. Here comes the knight threatening queen, takes on queen to h7 would be mate, right? And there's nothing better than to take. Look at that. Check. He goes there. Look at this. He's setting it up, the light square battery. Threatening mate on h7, and there's nothing he can do. Look at this. There's nothing black can do to stop it. Nothing. All right, he takes there. There you go. Game over. See how quickly he can fall apart? You got to watch against the sevens, folks. All right, that's just one little scenario. And, I mean, I'm trying to show you. The point is, d4, Morphy castling, d5 relieves the pressure. And I was just trying to say, you know, if he pins this, you could go here with this one. And the whole point being The bishop move's a pretty good move, I guess. Like if he goes here and he pins, what if you put the question to him, right? Now okay, now he wants it. Now he'll trade. That's something. What happens on this, right? Tonight, let's see what happens on this. So, because then you could break that pin of the bishop at this point. All right, I should have seen that. Okay, so you break the pin, and now there you go. And look, you do one of these, right? He's hitting your knight, you hit his bishop. All right, he takes this way, you take back. All right, but anyway, okay, so look at Shredder's move after this. He like queen at d3 again, trying to sneak in on g6. But anyway, all right, now he prefers this. Okay, but my point being, I'm trying to make it. Once white passes with his d5 move, it takes all the possibilities in the center, like what could happen. Once he breaks the tension, they say. See, he breaks the tension because now there's a possibility black. It's a possibility white can take. There's a possibility black could take, right? Black could take this way. Will white end up pushing here, or will he take back here? There's a lot of questions still. See, that's what's hard. You're trying to evaluate a lot of different possibilities in the center. The center is where it's at, folks. The center is where all the action occurs, okay? It's very crucial. With a move like, after Morphy's castle, with a move like d5, it releases the tension. And now, okay, Morphy, bring in the knight to e7, okay? And you got, yes, white could win this, but black could win that. Now maybe play this first, boot him out of there, and then, okay, and now you win it, okay? Now you win it, and where this goes, who knows? It's a whole other game. Matter of fact, remember, white gave up that b pawn. So black's up a pawn. White, gambited a pawn, and at this point, he doesn't really have, let's see, does he get anything for it? I mean, it doesn't look like it to me. Is this one, could you play bishop f5? No, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe this would be bad, because then he pins this one. And what could he do, right? Yeah, that plays into white's hands. See the evaluation drop? Watch this. 1.37. Negative 1.35. Bring the bishop there. Uh-oh. Boom. It swings into white's, +1 now for white. Right? It's over a 2.5 swing there. That's no good, right? About. So, okay, knight comes back. What's he got? What's he got for that pawn, folks? Doesn't look like much to me. And this, look at this. There's no battery. This D pawn is blocking that diagonal, right? No good. No good for white. So anyway, so he doesn't take, after Morphy's knight to e7, he doesn't take here. Black will just end up winning the white's e pawn. So what does Mongredien do? Well, all right, folks. Now, Mongredien brings the queen up to d3 to protect his e-pawn. All right? But that gives time for Morphy to play d6 to protect his e-pawn, right? So now, and that, look at this move, folks. After d6, I mean, now Mongredien plays h3. I mean, because look at this guy. He wants to come right out into the action. I mean, whether he'd come here, maybe then he could back off. So he wants to prevent him to get into g4 altogether, so he plays h3. All right, so anyway, what does Morphy do? Well, he swings his knight up into the, position into g6, okay? It's going to be a little fight for f4 now. Here you got the knight swinging back, right, up to h2. Let me make sure I didn't miss a move in between here. That's move 11, right? So, yeah, knight to h2. And I don't know, maybe this is, white's break right here. Let me just throw a silly move in. Maybe he's thinking to play this up, okay, to strike in the center somehow. He's got to chisel away at the black center. I mean, you got the rook on f1, you got the bishop on c1, right? They're supporting an f4 pawn push. So the knight, he leaps out of the way, maybe to push f4, but look at this. Look at Morphy now. Morphy with the other knight. Knight to h5, right? The queen is on, she's not over here. She's on d3, right? So anyway, he brings the, Mongrenian brings the bishop back to b3. So maybe now that f4 is stopped, I don't know, maybe he wants to clear the way for the c pawn to come up and maybe take a crack at d6. But even then, I mean, you put, my mistake there, mouse slip, you put the bishop back here. Notice white doesn't have a b pawn. Remember, he gambited that pawn. So there could be, the c pawn doesn't really get much support to do anything on c5, right? Because the d pawn, look at the d pawn over here. It already passed. It's not on d4 supporting, a c5 pawn push. So I don't know. Where's the break going to come? How's white going to really attack the center? I don't know. But he moves the bishop back. I guess maybe he's going to push the c pawn. Anyway, here you go. You got Morphy leaping the king knight to f4. Which one's the king knight, folks? All right, it's this one. Okay, like Shredder. Shredder would do the same. Look at this. Here you go. Bishop takes, and Morphy just retakes with the other guy. All right, so the queen's under the gun, right? The queen's under the gun, and he moves. Augustus moves the queen to f3. All right, well, now look at Shredder right away. Right away with the move, folks. Does it make sense? I hope this stuff is making sense to you, how these games are being played, right? The logic. Morphy playing the move Shredder recommends. Of course, it's the great Morphy. He sees it. He saw it, what was this? This was, I didn't get the date. This is the 7th match game, March of 1859, right? Holy smokes, right? 100 and something years ago, whatever it is. Do the math. Well, wait, let's see. 1960 would be 101 years ago. And another 60 some odd years, right? Another 60 to that. Holy smokes. We're talking how many years? I just got lost. I don't know. My math's no good. Don't ask me about this. All right. So it's clearly, what was it? Almost 200 years ago. I'm sorry, folks. It's been a long day. It's after work. I'm exhausted. I'm trying to bring this special little quick game. It's a cute game, not too long. You see what happens here. It's pretty astounding. Well, let's forget the math and the years and all that. Let's get back to the chess, right? Here we go. So, F5, open it up, baby. Open up that file. Now, believe it or not, Augustus takes. Morphy developing with the piece taken back on F5. Look at this. Now, look at the dangers, folks. You got the enemy, rook. Whenever it's on an open file opposing your queen, get ready for the fireworks. Look out. I mean, you got the knight in the way. Little mouse slip there. You got the knight in the way. You got the bishop in the way. But don't worry. The tactics could fly, folks. Next thing you know, the white queen's toast. Right? It's going in the box. So, okay. So here we go. We got the knight F to F3. Morphy opens it up with F5. Okay, bishop recaptures on F5. Here we go. Now, we got this move. Get a load of this one. G4. Advance those pawns in front of your king, right? You weaken that castle. Not a good idea. So here you go. Hitting the bishop. And this is what's funny because Morphy just plays the bishop to D3. Exclamation. No, that's not an exclamation point, but it's a good move. He's hitting the rook. He's threatening to win the exchange, folks, right? So here we go. We got the notes here. This is decisive. Threatening knight to E2 check. Why is that decisive? Folks, look. Once the knight gets off, look, the bishop got off the F file. Now the knight leaps out with check. Okay? What is it doing? It's unleashing the rook, right? This is a check move. What's he going to do? He'd have to take. Look at that. He'd have to take. Pretty dreadful. You'd have to give your queen up for a knight. I mean, come on. Game over right there. Now, I threw in A3 just to show you this threat. I mean, you got the bishop moving to D3, threatening to win the exchange. And also the other threat of the knight leaping to e2. Now that the bishop, get a load of this too. You notice the knight protects the bishop, and now he's starting to jump the knight to e2 with check. The bishop protects the knight. It's insane, right? The tactics fly, folks. I told you, when you got the enemy rook on an open file hitting the enemy queen there, the tactics fly. Now, let's say if he moves. All right, let's go with Shredder's first instinct to move the king, right? Move the king over. All right, so what does that do? Well, all right, here comes the enemy queen. Okay, and let's see, what's that going to amount to? I guess then a knight takes on h3. What's coming here? You could take this one. You're threatening to it. Look, we got the two bishops aiming at the enemy white rooks. Look at this. We're going to win the exchange one way or the other, I think, right? All right, he takes here. I guess wouldn't the white queen just try to take some power off the board, but no. Yeah, that's the knight leaping in. I mean, I'm not seeing it, folks. Well, we got, I don't know. What do we have here? What's the threat? Let's throw the dinky pawn over here to see. We take that guy. All right, he's just hanging. I mean, the pieces are hanging all over the place. I forgot. We took the c pawn. Now the knight's hanging too over there on d2. I'm looking at the rooks. My mouth's watering winning the exchange, but I mean, there's more going on here. We take. All right, the knight leaps to safety. I guess you grab this one. All right, you pin that guy. You pin the knight on f3. He's going to trade. You got to trade the power off the board when you're under the attack like this. All right, so there you go. The knight's, you're threatening to win a knight. Here comes the king to help. Well, that guy's still pinned. How many pieces we got? Now, look at this. We give the exchange. Now that knight's pinned, right? We go after him. There you go. Look, we win that one. See? All right, he's going to come down here, but we set up a discovery. And there you go, right? We just want a piece. We want a piece. Here we go. Look at that. We take this one and protect our b7 pawn. All right, so it's easy peasy now, right? Easy peasy. We're up, according to the engine, almost 8, right? We got 6 pawns to 3. We got an extra knight. All right, there you go. Okay, so that's an easy win. It's just a matter of time before white falls apart at this point, really. That's if the king goes over there, right? If he moves the rook like this to try to cover, I guess then knight h4 is still the move to make, right? Because on this, all right, he'll give up the queen. All right, he'll win the knight and the bishop for the queen. He'll get 2 minor pieces. Still winning for look at black. He's still winning here with it says -7.43. All right. Now the better move though. Let's look at the accuracy. Let's see. This comes over. He goes to play this there. We give the check. We give the check. All right. If he comes up, look at this. Look at this, folks. He takes there, right? And we win the rook over there. Forget about it. It's all over, right? It's another look. We win the other rook. I mean, he's got to unwind. He's got to get his pieces out. And look at that. We're gobbling up rooks. All right, so if he goes over this way, we got this bishop here. The rook's going to take it. So what do we set? Oh, knight fork. All right, knight fork. Beautiful. Look at this one. Knight takes on f2 check. And it takes away the queen's defense. Look at that. So now you take here, king takes, and you're going to recapture the rook at the end. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. And now you're up the exchange. You got 7 pawns to white's 4. Oh, boy. What a way. What a way to finish them. All right, so beautiful stuff, right? I mean, you got to admit, when the tactics fly, folks, when you got the position, that's it. Look at this. Unbelievable. So really at this stage, after this, bishop to d3. All right, what is Augustus do? He gets the queen out of the way. We looked at the rook moving here. We've looked at the king going over. All right, but Augustus tries putting the queen on e3, and look at this, folks. What do you think? Look at Shredder. He sees it. Morphy saw it 160, 180 years ago. What did we determine? Anyway, bishop to b6. Tempo on the queen. Getting another piece in this attack, folks. It's getting ugly. Oh, look at this. At this point, Shredder says, just forget about it. Give him the queen. Let's at least get the bishop for it. I mean, come on. Is that how you're going to play this game? You get the check over here. You pick up the rook. All right. I mean, forget it. Queen coming down. All right. Do we have to say any more after all that? Okay. White's busted. Okay. So, queen to e3. Bishop b6. Augustus tries to survive. Keep the queen on the board. He brings it to d2. All right. Queen d2. Now, look at this. Now, queen to h4 move. All right. This is what Morphy plays. He plays it now. Okay, and what's left, folks? What is left for White? What can he do? Okay, they just conclude. Queen to h4 wins. Okay, now you'd say, well, wait a minute. How's that, right? Well, look. Again, let's make a move, right? This pawn is pinned, folks. Queen, no, mouse slip. Sorry about that. Queen to g3. Check. King over. Supported by the knight on f4. Deadly, right? Deadly. You have a knight up there like this. You know, on the f4 outpost. We've seen similar, folks, in a few other games. Okay. But anyway, look at this. So the queen's coming in, and she's gonna mate on g2 like this. Okay? All right, that's one scenario. Okay, what if, I mean, look at Shredder. Just figures, well, let's take that knight. We can't have that, right? And there you go. You lose that way. And I mean, if he tries the king over, right? Okay, we could capture the rook. And if he takes back, well, now we take with check. And whether he blocks here or he, you know, you're gonna, oh, mouse slip again. Sorry about those. You're gonna mate queen to g2, right? If he steps over, queen to g2, still the same thing. And the other aspect, let's see, the other move, queen here. You know, if he tries something like f, let's see, he moves the queen, the king over, you take, and then if he tries f3, trying to defend with the queen on the second rank, well, now you move here. Look at this one, folks. You're gonna love this. Queen coming in, right? Now remember, we got the bishop. We got this bishop here, right? So he's trying to trade queens. He's trying. I mean, you know, this is really just prolonging it. But look at this move. Go for the throat. Look, folks. Queen to g2, right? He's got to take. No other move. You recapture with the bishop, and look at that. A two bishop mate. I mean, you got that knight on f4 supporting this guy on g2, right? And look at that. The king can't go to g1 because of the bishop, the dark square bishop. Look at this, right, folks? What a way to end it, huh? And then, once again, the patterns, folks, burn them into your brain. Understand the ideas. You know, you open that F file right here, F5, okay? Dangerous stuff. He plays G, no good, G4, just opening it up. I mean, I guess, what do we got going on here? I mean, the knight takes, I don't know. What do we got? What do we even have coming? What's the threat? I mean, this is the threat anyway, and look at that. He plays right into it. He weakens his castle position, and Morphy takes advantage of it anyway. He puts the bishop where it wants to go. You know, at this stage, he tried to save the queen. Tempo on the queen. Now the dark square bishop's in the fun, right? Here comes this guy. And Shredded, the best he could do is just get the knight for the queen. I mean, but it's over now, right? It's got to be over. You win the exchange. You take on f2. You're focused all over the place on f2. Right? Look at this. Double him up. He takes here. You take there. You're threatening queen to g3. Look at this. He can't even do anything. Here we go. We're going to mate on g1. How about that? Look. There's the bishop over there. What's he going to do, right? All right. There you go. And it's over, folks, right? Game 66 in the books. I know it was a short one, but it was sweet, right? A lot of nice patterns. And the interesting thing is how Morphy played against one of his favorite weapons as white. The Evans Gambit, he plays the bishop to a5. All right. We'll see. Maybe there's some more games like this. We'll see how Morphy handles the Evans. But he played the bishop to a5. Did I say c5? To a5. Okay. And then he attacks the enemy e-pawn. And on d4, he ignores that pawn push and just castles. All right. So there you go. And here, Mongo. Look at it. Even Shredder. No, okay. Shredder would rather take here. All right. You do this. The rook. Here comes the bishop attacking this rook. But hey, we got the d pawn still. All right. We got the d pawn. What does he do? Who knows, right? It's a game, folks. It's still a game. All right. So yeah, he brings the knight. He brings the knight over here, huh? All right, well, anyway, it's a whole other game. There you go. They fight it out. There you go. You trade them off. Not bad. All right, you got an isolated pawn. Would he want to grab that? I don't think so. You get the rook. You get the rook, look. Attacking this guy. That guy's protected by the queen, though, so I don't know. Look at this. Oh, you can't take, else it's made on the back rank. Look at that. All right, some cuties. Silly jokes, right, as they go. All right, he tries to be fancy. Look at that. All right. I don't know. So this is where it could go. Look at this. He takes here. You take. He wins this guy. You take. And look at this. They put white. They put black up. I guess he's got enough. He's got. If you look at it this way, he's got 3 minor pieces that are equal to the queen. And, you know, they both have a rook, and then black has his rook versus that knight on a3. Right? And now you have 4 pawns to 5 pawns. All right, so I don't know if I'd like to play it this way, but, again, interesting, right? All the things that could happen in this game. How we got here, I don't even remember, but, you know, there you go. It's chess, right? All right, beautiful stuff. They give black at this point. Shredder puts black up 2.45, almost 2.5. All right, who knows? Black has a bishop here, right? All right, there you go. Game 66. We'll call this one history, right? All right, till the next game, folks. Good night.